Blade Runner is a film that came out in 1982. It is a cult classic that was very polarizing upon release, but over the years has developed a huge cult following. Now it's widely considered one of the greatest sci-fi masterpieces of all time. It's directed by Ridley Scott and it stars Harrison Ford, among other people. I saw this movie back when I was a kid. I think it was like 12 years old or something like that, and this is one of those films that constantly stuck with me. It's one of those movies that I just couldn't stop thinking about. And now with Blade Runner 2049 coming out this Friday, I thought it'd be time to go back in time, so to speak. And, well, it's technically going back in time, even though it's a movie that takes place in the future. So I'm going back to the future. It's corny, but you understood that reference, didn't you? So Blade Runner itself takes place in the year 2019, and in the year 2019, it's become an era of humans and replicants. In this universe, replicants are basically like humanoid androids or robots. They're basically robots, except they're human in pretty much every single way. They feel emotion, they cry, they get hurt, they feel pain, all of that stuff. The major differences are that they're stronger and faster than we are, and that their life expectancy is shorter. Replicants are used to regulate and to do work on like off-world colonies and stuff like that, colonizing other planets. Basically, after a huge incident involving the replicants or the manufacturing of replicants have basically become illegal, like completely illegal on Earth. You can't really do the whole replicant thing anymore. There are these specialized cops called Blade Runners, and Blade Runners hunt replicants or unregistered replicants, and they basically, retire them or kill them. It's retire is a euphemism for kill. It's basically the same thing. The story in Blade Runner follows a Blade Runner called Deckard. Deckard is played by Harrison Ford, and Harrison Ford is basically recruited or hired to hunt down these 4 replicants who are causing a whole lot of mess, and these 4 replicants, led by one named Roy, are looking for something that could help them live longer, and it has to do with the Tyrell Corporation. The Tyrell Corporation is this huge-ass company that manufactures replicants. Ridley Scott has always known how to make a gorgeous-ass movie, but he really knocked it out of the park with this one. Blade Runner is one of his best-looking films that he's ever made. Not even just talking about the cinematography, everything from the color to the lighting to the sets to the locations, everything about this film looks gorgeous. This is a movie that is visually ahead of its time. It looks so great. Everything about this movie just makes you feel more immersed in the world and in the story that they're trying to tell. Scene by scene, shot by shot, this world just expands and opens and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You see so many cool things, some cool technology, culture. I mean, you see a whole bunch of stuff that just makes you go, wait, what is that? How does that work? And oh, wow, I want to know more about that. And that's the kind of world that Ridley Scott has created. I also like the fact that even though it's a futuristic type of movie, I mean, the movie came out in 1982, but the setting of the movie takes place in 2019. I like the fact that it's futuristic, but it's also gritty futuristic. It's kind of dirty. I mean, it's basically Los Angeles in the future, and there's a lot of people. It's very crowded. It's very dirty. There's trash everywhere. There's a whole bunch of stuff that going on where you're kind of like, oh, well, it doesn't look all sleek and shiny and perfectly produced. No, it looks like a future, and you could definitely tell with some of the technology that they use that it does come from the future, but it's also a future that makes sense, where it kind of feels still grounded in reality. Yeah, the futuristic, people automatically think that everything in the future is going to look better, that it's going to look beautiful, it's going to look sleek. Not everything is going to look like eggs on a tit, people. Has anyone ever used egg on a tit to describe how beautiful something is? If not, I'm claiming that shit here and today. I gotta give it up, slow clap or fast clap or whatever kind of clap you want to use for the performances in this film. They are excellent. There was definitely a great relationship going on between the director and the actors. If there was a whole lot of drama behind the scenes, it did not show up on screen. Harrison Ford was great in this movie, so was Sammy Young, so was everybody else in this movie. Along the course of the story in which Deckard is investigating these replicants and trying to find out where they are so we can hunt them down and take them out, he strikes up this sort of romance with this replicant named Rachel. This is the only area of the movie where I have kind of a flaw. I do feel like the romance between Deckard and Rachel wasn't developed as well, but again, that's a nitpick. I virtually have no other complaints with the rest of the film. If you're looking for your stereotypical sci-fi action movie, this movie is definitely not that. This has little to no action in it. It has some moments of suspense. It definitely has some moments of tension. The musical score certainly lends to the tension-filled scenes in that aspect. Overall, this is a thinking man sci-fi, and those are my favorite types of sci-fi. The sci-fi that ask the big questions and aren't afraid of the big answers. This movie is extremely heavy. It has a lot of themes. It has a lot of heavy ideas about humanity. What does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be alive? Could the robots become more human than actual humans? I mean, this movie tackles that. There are some religious parallels. I mean, this movie has a a lot of things going on for you, and you kind of have to watch it multiple times in order to get a really good fix on what it's trying to say. It does require you to think, and there are a lot of little things that pop up during the story, not just scene to scene, but just the dialogue within the scene, like what people say. You have to pay attention to it. Every little detail in this film counts. One of the big questions that people ask over and over again over the years has been one of those raging debates in sci-fi history. Is Deckard a replicant? Definitely a few hints in this film that seem to point to Deckard possibly being a replicant himself, but I don't know. I don't think he's a replicant, but I can also see why people would think that. By the way, I am reviewing the final cut of this film because I feel like that's the most complete version of the movie. Ridley Scott himself has said that this is the most complete version of the film, so I'm reviewing that one. That is my favorite one, even though there's like 5 different versions of this movie, but I feel like they're all the same movie. They're just kind of Frankensteined into little bits and pieces taken in and taken out. The tears in the rain scene, the scene where Deckard is facing off with the leader of the replicant, or the leader of the little group of replicants that he's tracking. Such a great scene. Not just the music, not just the way that it's filmed, the dialogue, the tears in the rain speech that he gives. It's one of my favorite scenes ever. Gorgeous looking movie, a gritty ass movie with suspense, with great sci-fi, great drama, great performances, great music. To date, this is my favorite Ridley Scott film that he's ever made, and he's made some great ones. It's probably between this one and Gladiator and Alien, but it's those 3. It's gotta be. But I think Blade Runner is my all-time favorite. No doubt in my mind, Blade Runner from 1982 gets the Superman Prime rating. Let's keep the debate going in the comments section. Is Deckard a replicant? Let me know what you guys think down below. Please like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and as always, if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.